introduction to what you're getting ready to see. We're going to start talking about a couple things that are called conic sections. Now, we talked about one already and didn't know it. The parabola is a conic section. There are three more that we're going to talk about starting today with one that you should be familiar with, which is called a circle. So, parabola was the first conic section we did. Objective 138 and 139 are going to talk about circles, which are the second conic section. Things we're going to talk about is how to put the circle on a coordinate plane. This is not like middle school circles where we're just going to have circles and color them or look at the radius and find the diameter or the circumference. We're actually going to put circles on the coordinate plane, like the XY plane, which is like one of these. Then we need to understand the circle equations and how to graph them. And lastly, understand when the circle is centered up on the origin and when it's not. Those moves for parabolas, how to move them left and right, up and down, they're going to apply to our circles, and you're going to see that after we kind of learn what is centered up on this side. All right, so let's look at the notes. The basic equation of a circle in the coordinate plane is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. Let me do r squared here in a different color for you. R squared. All right, the reason I put r squared in a different color is because that is the only one that's actually going to be a number. You will have x squared, you'll see that. You'll have y squared, you'll see that. And then you'll have some other number. R is going to be some number, like 5 squared or 3 squared or 14 squared. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. Now the r is your radius. You know circles have radius. That's the distance from the center to some edge of the circle. And then this circle that I'm telling you is going to be centered on the graph. So the center of the circle is 0, 0. It is the origin. So let's look at this one example. This is from an actual, this is usually the one I start with, but this is an actual legit problem that you can see on this objective. It says x squared plus y squared equals 25. Now circle 25. Here's the key. That is the r squared. That is the radius squared. So if the radius squared is 25, what is the radius? 5. R squared, you square root it. If r squared is 25, the radius is 5. Now I want you to find the centered up circle out of these four that has a radius of 5. That's not centered, and that's not centered. So between A and C, yeah, this one has a radius of 3, and here's what a radius of 5 would look like. So you're centered, you go 5 to the right, 5 up, 5 left, 5 down. That's what a circle with a radius of 5 is going to look like. 5 left, right, up, and down from the center. Pretty simple. X squared plus y squared equals some number squared. If you'll just square root it, you'll find the radius. The next one, x squared plus y squared equals 16. First question I'll say is this circle supposed to be centered? Yeah. As long as it's x squared plus y squared, it's centered. And what's the radius supposed to be? 4. Yeah. If I got a 16 there, the radius is 4. So eliminate any non-centered circles like this one. This has a radius of what? 2, so that's not what we want. How about this one? Yeah. And then what's wrong with this guy? It's not centered. This does have a radius of 4, but it's not centered. So if you have x squared plus y squared equals r squared, your circle is centered, and that r squared is your radius squared. All right, let's look at, this is a weird one that they like to throw in here. These numbers don't move the center, actually. You got 3x squared plus 3y squared equals 108. If you have coefficients on your letters like this, like you have your 3x squared and your 3y squared, and they're the same coefficient, we can easily just divide each piece by 3 and get those coefficients off. So just put underneath that we're going to divide each piece by 3. This is kind of them just being tricky and not giving you x squared plus y squared like you want. So this is now 1, 1, and then what's 108 divided by 3? 36. Which, as you notice, 36 is a nice square number. So you get x squared plus y squared equals 36. And that means our radius is what? 6. It's centered. It is x squared, y squared. It didn't start out that way. It started out tricky with the 3's next to the x and y, but divide them off. X squared plus y squared is 36. And let's find the centered circle that has a radius of 6. Are we saying it's A?
Yeah.
A is definitely centered, and that looks like 6 to me. That was 6 left, 6 right, 6 up, 6 down. Okay. So remember, some other examples of this, you might see 2x squared plus 2y squared is 50. Just divide them all by 2, so you get x squared, y squared, and 25. And I've seen some others, 3x squared, 3y squared, and 27. Divide them all by 3. Now let's talk about when the circle is not centered. If it's x squared plus y squared, it's centered. But if you have these parentheses, so the center is not always the origin. If you have these parentheses, that's what moves the center from the origin to somewhere else. You got x minus 2 squared instead of x squared. And then you got y minus 1 squared instead of y squared. So what these do is these move you left or right and up and down. But just like we talked about on the parabola, things inside go the opposite direction of what you think. Now x is a left-right, but opposite. So this x minus 2 is actually going to move you what? Negative 2 you would normally think of as left, so I want you to think of it as right. So negative 2 means right 2. And then even the y, since it's in a parenthesis, your y is your up and down shift, but in the parentheses it's opposite. So as negative 1 you usually think down, you're not. I want you to go up 1. So negative 1 means up 1. So let's find the circle with, what's our radius right here? Radius is 5. Let's find the circle with radius 5, but the center is right 2 and up 1.
You just assume it's A.
You can assume A is the only one it could be. It can't be this. Let's go right 2 and up 1 and see if that's the center of this circle. If you went right 2 and up 1, that would be the center, for sure. Now the radius is supposed to be 5, so if the radius is supposed to be 5 from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 this way and 5 that way. So parentheses move the circle left and right, up and down. The numbers with x go which direction?
Right or left?
Right, left. The numbers with y go what direction? Up or down. But always remember what about those numbers?
They're opposite.
Opposite. Opposite of this, right 2, opposite of that, up 1. All right, let's look at example 5. Example 5 is a little backwards. I'm going to give you a picture. And I'm going to say, what equation represents this? So if you have a picture and you're asked, what equation is that circle? Find the center. Kind of use your pencil and kind of gauge where do you think the center is. Right here. Okay, if that's the center, to get there, you must have gone left, how much? 3. So I want to see a plus 3 with the x. And then I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to see a minus 4. So since I went left 3, look at your answers that say plus 3 with the x. How many do you have?
1.
Just 1. And then notice that since I went up 4, I want to see a minus 4. I want to see the opposite numbers. And then they have a 25 right here. Notice that if our radius is 5, you won't see 5 in the equation. You're supposed to see 25. 25, yeah, squared in the equation. All right, everything you've seen so far, those are examples of what 138 looks like. 139 does not have any pictures, so I'm going to give you 3 examples of what 139 looks like. All right, on 139, I'm going to give you information, and then you give me the right equation. So I'm going to tell you the center is 1, negative 5, and the radius is 7. First thing, if the radius is 7, what are you going to see in the equation? 49. You won't see 7 in the equation. You're going to see 49. So cross out the ones that have a 7 in there. The other thing to take note of is that the center is right 1, down 5. I want to see opposite and opposite. So with the x, I want to see what? X minus 1, and which I have on both of these. But then with the y, it says y plus 5. I want to see opposite and opposite in the equation. So I want to see y plus 5. Opposite and opposite. And then we square the number right there. All right, the next example, very similar, except for I've got a weird radius. This is what I call a weird radius. Anything that's not a whole number, to me, is going to be weird. If you want to square this, to put it in the equation, I would hug anything weird that you're supposed to square, hug it in a parenthesis. Just like I said with the negative numbers, hug them. If you would just hug this in a parenthesis, like that. So if you want to square it, hug it in a parenthesis and square it. That makes sure it gets squared right. And you get 125. So I want to see 125 in my answer. Just like I got here. But opposite and opposite. So what should I see with my x? Plus 4. And with my y? Plus 3. So which one has plus 4 plus 3? Hey. And lastly, going back to where we started. Find the equation of a circle with radius 7 and the center is the origin. If the center of the circle is the origin, what is the left side always going to look like? If the center is the origin.
X squared, y squared.
X squared and y squared, and that's it. X squared and y squared, x squared and y squared. What's wrong with C though?
That'd be the whole thing.
X squared plus y squared equals 7. What's wrong with that?
You can't square root 7 squared.
Yeah, we don't want 7 in there. If the radius is 7, we don't want 7 in our equation. What do we want?
49.
49. 7 squared or 49. Also notice that D, they said 14. That's not what we want. Okay, that covers everything on circles. Now we've